Hey, wait, is this thing on? Oh, it is. Hey guys, this is, Editor Agent here, and I just wanted to inform you that we have a new goal, and the new goal is 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Yeah, I know, it's a big goal from where we're at right now, but I believe in you. And, you, the viewer, yeah, you, if you look down slightly, yeah, keep looking, more. You see that? Yeah, that's the subscribe button. If you press it, you'll get notified about my videos and content. And every time I post, you will know about it. So yeah. And if you press the like button, you will show even more people about this spectacular content that you so love and enjoy. And also, just a random fact on the screen. There's just, new content that's going to come out when we reach 1,000 subscribers. I'm totally not spoiling anything, of course. But yeah, you know, editor editor agent, I guess, is probably writing some stuff on the screen. If he is, make sure you don't pay attention to it. Yeah, don't worry about it. I am not a sellout, by the way, so yeah, don't worry about what it says on the screen. Just completely ignore that. But yeah, I've wasted your time enough. I've wasted your time enough. Unless you didn't do it. If you didn't do it, I'll wait. No, but like seriously, do it. Okay, so you probably did it by now. Back to your regularly scheduled program. What up, you guys? It's Agent What If, and I'm back with part 2 of What If Deku was too powerful for the MHA universe. And, this is the part 2, so you guys just strap in and enjoy the video. Anyway, we pick up with Izuku being at Toshinori's house, or All Might's house, and Izuku walks throughout the house and just continues, walking through the house, exploring the surroundings, because he's extra cautious because his life's been kind of hard. So, he's, making sure that he's not making a mistake by, like, trusting him or anything. Toshinori then thinks to himself, I have to make this child become a hero. And Izuku, like, hears this and he's like, why do you want me to be a hero? And Toshinori says, I forgot he can read my mind. You look, man, you have to be a hero. And Izuku says, why? Because you're scared of my power? You think that if I turn into a villain, that I'll be unstoppable? Because I will be. And, Izuku then basically says, I don't really care about being a villain. If I wanted the people who hurt me dead, they would be. But don't test me. And, Toshinori is like, okay, so you're going to be a hero, right? And Izuku then says, it depends on if I feel like it. And Toshinori says, like, tries to, be a parent. And he gives him ultimatum. He's like, if you don't want to be a hero, you can't live in my house. And Izuku then says, what do you think would stop me from just controlling your mind to signing over the rights to your house to me? And, I can manipulate a person's mind to make them think that I'm an adult and steal your house from you and make you give away all of the wealth you've accumulated to me. And actually, he's kind of bamboozled by this. He's like, actually, that is actually a smart idea. And Izuku says, but I'm not sinister like that. I told you, it depends on how I feel. If I don't feel like it, I won't. And actually, after that, we time skip 5 years later. Izuku's just been kind of chill, he's just been kind of chill. He doesn't really do anything, because Izuku is just, he's pretty powerful. Izuku in the past 5 years has developed 3 new powers. Aside from his super strength, super durability, super speed, reflexes and all of that. And, the ability to read minds and turn off quirks with his sheer aura. He has developed the ability to fly. He's developed telekinesis. And he's developed the ability to, to make force fields. So, Izuku's gotten, pretty strong. And this is around the time when All Might, arrives home and tells him, he's like, hey, Izuku. And Izuku, mentally talks to me. He says, why are you yelling? And, he, All Might, has developed a way to, stop Izuku from reading his mind so clearly. So he'll, cloud his thoughts. And he's like, get down here. I need something to say to you. And Izuku's like, whatever. And just, flies off the roof, comes through his window, opens his door, flies down the stairs. and is right in front of Endeavor. I mean, not Endeavor, All Might, and then lands on the ground. And All Might then says, "So you're gonna be a hero?" And Izuku says, "Sure, why not?" And he says, "Great, I'm gonna introduce you to UA." And Izuku's like, "All right." So we actually do time skip to the past the 10 months. Izuku doesn't develop any powers. He just kind of perfects the new powers that he does have. And Izuku is then, just allowed into the school because he's more powerful than anyone on the planet for the most part, except for probably like All For One. All For One is probably like the only person who's stronger than him at this point. Izuku then, is just watching. He's like, they're pitiful. And like everyone there is just kind of like not wanting to be around him because they're pretty scared of Izuku because their quirks are currently shut off. So Izuku is just like, why are you guys like hiding away from me? I said I was gonna be a hero. And Aizawa actually walks up and says, "You're quite intimidating, right? That aura you spew is like death and destruction." And Izuku says, "Yeah, that's the kind of life I've lived. So if you're scared, stay away from me. I understand. I'm used to it by now." And, everyone else thinks of this as like a threat. But the only two who actually pick up on it is Aizawa and All Might. And this was actually like not a threat. It was more like a plea for like attention. Because Izuku's smart, but he's been hurt all his life, so he's trying to push them away, like by telling them like, yeah, if you're scared of me, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't want you to I don't want to associate with you anyway. But that's not really what he wants, right? He doesn't want people to be scared of him. So like Aizawa then just tells him like, nah, I'm not scared of you. If I was, then I wouldn't be very much of a hero, would I? And, All Might then comes over to everyone, grabs them, and pulls them forward. And he says, "Izuku will not do you anything. If you try to, send your own aura out, it will be crushed. But you'll be fine if you just act passive." And, they just walk over to him. The test basically finishes. And then we time skip to Izuku entering class, right? Aizawa actually knows who Izuku is. And Izuku doesn't actually have to participate in any other tests. And everyone wonders why this is, especially for Bakugo. Especially for Bakugo and Todoroki, right? So Izuku, just going about his business, just then, is sitting down while everyone else is doing their tests. And everyone's wondering, like I said, especially like a couple of the girls are actually wondering as well, because Izuku's hair is actually blue. I probably said he was normal, but his hair is kind of bluish, like it is in the thumbnail. So yeah, Izuku then is just kind of chill because he knows everything that's gonna happen like in the class because he's reading Aizawa's mind. So, and he also has to stay far away from them because his quirk is almost always active because he's almost always angry. So yeah, so he has to stay like a decent bit away from them because their quirks wouldn't even work and it would just be like a normal fitness test. So yeah. After which, Izuku just kind of goes about his business and nothing much else happens until we actually skip to right before the USJ. And Izuku actually goes to class. And everyone immediately turns to look at him the moment he walks in the door. And Izuku then just says hi to everyone. And then everyone turns their heads not wanting to look at him. Izuku says to be expected, walks to a seat. And Aizawa then says, "Okay, now that everyone's here, today we're going to be going on the USJ trip like I've told you already. So, now we're going to be going on that trip. So, get your hero costumes. This is going to be a quirk-related endeavor." And, they do. Izuku actually doesn't want to, ride on the bus with everyone because, again, he's always angry. And he doesn't really want to, freak out the students because of his aura. So he actually does have to fly to the USG. So he arrives about an hour and a half, earlier than they do. So he's just waiting for, an hour. He's like, Jesus Christ, the bus is so slow. maybe it would have been better if I just picked the bus up and flew here. And then Izuku starts thinking, maybe that would have been better. Nah, I'm too lazy for that. Izuku sees the bus arrive and is like, finally. He opens the door to see 13 getting ready to give a speech, but then it's just only Izuku. And 13 asks where the rest of the class is, and Izuku then says that they're on the way, they were a little slow. 13 is like immediately getting the aura like all around her, and she like is kind of scared. So she turns around, but she's actually like sweating, and she like turns around really quickly again, facing Izuku, and tries to use her quirk, and it doesn't work. And then she tries to physically attack Izuku, and Izuku's just not even moving, and he like the punches are just landing, but it's not doing anything. And like Aizawa and the rest of the class walk in to see like her just like assaulting him, and it not affecting him at all. And Izuku's just like, stop. And then she just stops. And then Aizawa's like, Izuku, what are you doing? And he's like, how do you figure I'm doing something? She was the one literally attacking me. And then, Aizawa then says, I know how your powers work. Especially, I know how your powers work. So you wouldn't have been hurt by her attacking you. So stop. Izuku then says fine. And says that he's just gonna sit on the stairs and he's not gonna like participate in this one. That's when Kirishima sees the villains and Aizawa immediately gets to work. Izuku is kind of bored. Like, he sees the villains, but he's like, wow, they're like villains, I guess. This is interesting, except it's not because it's boring. Give me a challenge. And Izuku then just like shoots mental waves like at the villains and knocks them all out. And correctly, I forget his name so many times. Jesus Christ, I can't remember. Shigaraki is absolutely terrified. So he tells Komogiri to just like bring the Nomu, right? Like just now. And like the Nomu just starts barreling towards them, and Izuku says, I got this. And everyone else is scared, and Aizawa was like, you sure you can handle it? And he's like, don't doubt my power. And Izuku tries to use his mental control on the Nomu, but then like the Nomu like is resistant to it, and he's like, wait, what? He tries to go into like the Nomu's mind, but he finds like the deeper he goes, the worse it gets. And he starts seeing like how the Nomu was like a person at one point, and it was just, and how painful and how much pain they had to go through. And Izuku just starts crying, and like Aizawa was like, are you okay? And the rest of the students are even more scared now. And the Nomu's coming. Izuku wipes his face and says, that was the first time I've cried in like in a very long time. And he starts walking down the steps, and he jumps and he starts flying towards Nomu, punches the Nomu in the face, sending it flying. And Izuku just flies over to the Nomu and starts beating down on it. The Nomu gets a punch in, surprisingly, knocking Izuku into the air and him falling back down to the steps. Izuku recovers, swiping the dust off of him, and starts running towards the Nomu again. This time, he uses telekinesis and starts ripping the Nomu apart. Like, literally, he rips his arm off, but the Nomu's arm starts to regrow. Izuku then chops it up with his telekinesis. He just rips it apart in clean cuts, and it starts to regrow again. And it actually makes more Nomus. And Izuku's like, well, this is, not good. And the Nomus all start attacking Izuku, and he uses telekinesis to grab them and clump them together and use his force field to try to, crush them to death. But that doesn't work because they're all, impact absorbent, and they're punching the barrier. So they break the barrier. Izuku's like, this is very tiring. He goes over to Nomus and shuts their powers off, but they still are physically strong. They punch him, it doesn't do anything. Izuku rips off one of Nomu's arms, grabs it by the throat, rips out his throat, then chops off his head. And the Nomu falls to its knees and then face plant. Not even face plants, because it doesn't have a face anymore. Its head is gone. So then Izuku looks over to the other Nomu, uses telekinesis to bring the Nomu close to him, and then just tears it apart, scatters it into pieces and chunks, right? The second Nomu's dead. The third Nomu is that came from an arm is barreling towards Izuku. Izuku says, you poor creature, and he spins, puts his hand down, and the Nomu splits in half, killing it, right? Shigaraki is profoundly scared. He already told Komagiri to, like, make them leave. All Might didn't even come because he wasn't concerned at all. He was like, nah, Izuku has it. Like, there's no way they can bring anything unless he comes, right? And Izuku would have told, like, All Might if that was the case, because they had an agreement. So Izuku was just like, much more of a challenge than I thought, but definitely not anything I couldn't handle. Aizawa then asks Izuku if he's okay. Izuku then replies with a yes, and they kind of move on. And everyone just got full display how powerful Izuku was. And Todoroki and Bakugo were the most upset by this. Because, like, Jesus, that he was vastly superior to them. There was nothing they could do to Nomu, and he just easily took them out. So, yeah. But I think with that, I'm going to end this episode. If you guys want a part 3, really soon, then, well, just tell me. Just tell me if you want a part 3, like, the next day. Just let me know. Peace.